Good evening, everyone. Mark Latham here, Watchtower Alert 2. I thought I'd do a response to Muscle Max Z1. I'm sure that's exactly how you pronounce it, Z1. I've known Muscle Max now ever since we came on YouTube. He's always responded in different formats and ways with us, and it's good to see him looking so fit and healthy, and I congratulate him on that. But the reason I'm responding to him is due to a posting that was, first of all, I was upset for him, genuinely upset, and I sent him a couple of messages. Actually, you can see them on the posting yourself, but as I came away from the posting, I thought, no, I've got to watch that again. There are things in there which I haven't really started to think about or take in first time round. So I put his posting back up and watched it again, and all of a sudden it hit me, and there were a lot of things that this brother of ours, he's an atheist, by the way, for many, but I still call him a brother because he's got an avid interest, shall we say, in watching the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society be brought down, exposed. And I'll come on to that. We can be in alliance with all sorts of people out there who want to just expose what cults are, not just this one, but all sorts of cults, and to understand the damage that they can cause to other people. Now, what Muscle Max has actually done here is just shared with everybody an experience that he's had. And if you look at the title of his response, it's Video Tag Response on Being Shunned by Lifelong Friend Who Became a JW. So what I want to do, and I'm sure he won't mind me doing this, because I want to respond to him again, but also just to elicit from his posting some highlights of the type of classic things that you can expect to see and hear from these type of experiences when people, real life experiences, when they go through them. And Muscle Max is no different from anybody else when it comes to being shunned, because he has now been shunned. Shunned by a friend that he has known for 50 years. 50 years. So I would recommend, once you've watched this, if you haven't already seen it, go on Muscle Max Z1 and see this video for yourself, and you'll get all of his facial expressions as well. But I'm just going to go through it piece by piece. I'm talking to you now, brother, from this point onwards, and also anybody else that would like to listen. Simple things, it's just my interpretation of it. As you've been speaking, I will now add some extra comments based on our experiences and those of others. So without further ado, why don't we get stuck in? Okay.
Greetings, friends. Just wanted to say hello to all my ex-JW friends, and just say that this video is a big departure for me, since most of my videos are on car racing and some nature things, so this is pretty much stepping out of my league. But generally this video is tag response to a gentleman that wanted to know about Jehovah's Witnesses, or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, being shunned. And I have first-hand experience, but I'm coming at this from a different angle, in the respect that I've never really been a God believer, plus I'm vehemently opposed to the Watchtower Society. And ever since I was a little kid, there was a disconnect that went on, and so I always had issues with the logicalness of a belief in a deity, etc. So as far as Jehovah's Witnesses, I guess I'm like a double apostate. So I don't believe in either God or that belief system, or especially the vile and immoral Watchtower Society. So anyway.
Okay, the first point there, brother, is that I'm looking at that, and thank you for being honest. Thank you for just being who you are. What you're doing there is you're showing a freedom of expression. You're showing that you are being free to express whatever you want and how you see it. And the difference is, as we'll come on to later, is that you're happy to be free, but you're also happy to discuss Scripture. Yes, you are. You're also happy to listen to what others are saying about Scripture. And that is very clear as the posting continues. So I just want to thank you for that to start with, to say I appreciate your honesty, and we as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses welcome you, and always will do, warmly, because we have a lot of things in common. We really do.
This story is about a lifelong friend. I've known her since we were like 5 years old. So I can't believe this. We're going on 50 years of knowing each other. So we would have discussions about the Bible, textual criticism mainly, and just, talks about theological questions and religious beliefs and things of that sort.
Okay, so you mentioned there that you are often in discussions with your friend, or you have been, about textual criticisms, about theological questions, about religious beliefs. Wow. This is a close friend. This is someone that you can, a lot of people in this country quite often say, well, never talk about religion and politics. Well, you look the sort of guy that is quite happy to talk about anything, and especially with friends. And that's very clear from, I don't know you as a personal friend, but I've known you from just comments we've made, but straight away I can tell that you're someone that is willing to share your soul to people. You're willing to share your beliefs, how you see things. When you say from childhood you've got problems with the fact of believing in a God since you were a child. Okay, so, but even then you're still willing to talk about the textual criticisms, theological questions, and religious beliefs as they go, especially with friends.
She was a fervent Catholic, then she claimed for years to be an atheist, so we had much in common as far as talking about non-belief and how religious doctrine can really be damaging to society in many cases. And
it's interesting you mention that religious doctrine can be damaging to society. You recognise that, and that's how you see it. And many, many others would totally agree with what you're saying here. That regardless of what religion it is, they're damaging. They're very, very damaging. And do you know what? I totally agree with you. Religion is very damaging. It certainly is. You've only got to look around you to see exactly what religion does to the world, to understand that. So we agree again, brother, on that, without a shadow of a doubt.
Even talked about the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, and little did I know that at the time we were having these discussions, she was actually studying with the witnesses, and she told me that at one point, and I said, wow, what is going on here? You're actually studying with the witnesses?
Okay. So I know you're fast tracking it here. You're not going into all of the detail because you've only got so many minutes to actually share this with everybody else in the world. But what you're saying here is that this lifelong friend that you have known for 50 years, that you thought you knew, that you're having so many discussions with, little did I know, are your words, when you were having all of these in-depth discussions with her, that she was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. Interesting, isn't it? And the real friend that you would have had here would have remained open with you, would have just carried on discussing these things. But not all witnesses that have Bible studies are private about this. There are a number of witnesses that will be so enthused by what they're hearing that they'll want to share it with everybody, only to find themselves being shut down very quickly. That, well, what are you doing? You're in a car crash. Get out of there. Run. So for many, they keep quiet. For many, they try and speak up, but suddenly realise that actually this is a cult. But I love what I'm hearing. This is actually real to me, and something clicks inside, and so they're going with this stuff, mostly because they're being love bombed. They're being taken care of. They're being given a special interest while they're going through their Bible study. And it's a very gentle persuasion that takes many weeks and then into months to get them into a position where they start to lose all of their friends and family. This is very common. We all know this. But for you, Muscle Max, here you are, this friend that you've had for 50 years, and although you're having all these discussions with her, this is what was so profound for me when I was listening to your posting. 50 years you've known this lady, and you're having these in-depth conversations with her, but you didn't know she was having a study with Jehovah's Witnesses. Interesting. I have a number of questions that I would like to ask her as a result of that. Was it because she was afraid to tell you of what she was really doing? Was it that she was afraid that the things that you were saying were actually things that she couldn't argue with? Was it because the people she was studying with realized that you were a very close friend of 50 years and that they needed to work on that very, very quickly to protect her from you, to put her in a position inside that bubble very, very quickly, to love bomb her in such a way that they would give her everything that she needed in order to compensate the fact that she was now losing a lifelong friend? I wonder which of those it was. Maybe it was a combination of all of them. Who knows, brother? But you've seen it straight away here, the insidious way that a friendship that you thought was rock solid, suddenly you're starting to realize that she hadn't been completely truthful with you. But there might have been, based on those reasons I've just told you, those might have been reasons why she didn't tell you. So, my hand on my heart, I say to you, please don't be offended by that with her. I'm sure you're probably not. I'm not teaching you to suck eggs. You're a very experienced man. You can see it for what it is. She's been duped. She's been suckered into something that has warped her thinking and reasoning factors to realize that she's giving up her friend for what she believes is something greater, something better. Let's move on.
And so this was about maybe 14 months ago. So generally we spent, I would say maybe 14 months, 13, 14 months via email, just going back and forth. And I threw every argument I could think of at her, mostly using Jehovah's Witnesses' own publications as proof.
Okay, 13, 14 months. There you are, discussing all these things with her. And obviously you now know that she's now doing this, having this study. Now throughout this period, I suspect that when she's told you that she's studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, that would have been a courageous move for her. And she would have also been complimented by that, by those that were having a Bible study with her. Well done. It's a momentous move you've just made. What a step you've made towards coming into the organisation. You are cleansing yourself, dear sister, from the world outside. You are relinquishing all of those old acquaintances and friends that weren't really friends. We're your real friends. Jehovah is your real friend. You're now cutting all of that off. And well done. We're here for you. That's the type of thing that would have come out in her announcement to you that she was having a study. Because I suspect it would have been quite a big step for her to say that. But when she said that, the minute she says that to you, something very deep and psychological happens to her. She is making a commitment. She already reaches a point in her head that she's going to have to let you go. So by announcing that to you, even though it still went on for many, many months afterwards, over a year, of you not wanting to give up on your friend, she was already there, brother. She was already looking at the end game of thinking, well, I can now see a light in that tunnel over there. I'm getting to a point where I know I'm going to have to let him go. Why is she thinking that? Because she's been told that. She's been told that over her weekly studies, piece by piece. Little drip feeds of information going in there, choice scriptures given to her, showing that this is what pleases Jehovah God. To her detriment, I might add, that she's losing lifelong friends while she's doing it.
Of the insanity and immorality of that whole organization. And it was just stunning to me, would be an understatement. I, through this time, could see her transformation basically into a robot.
And there we have it. Let's just repeat that bit again so people can hear that.
Immorality of that whole organization. And it was just stunning to me, would be an understatement. I, through this time, could see her transformation basically into a robot.
You were stunned. You were stunned. You found it absolutely stunning that your friend, that you thought you knew, for all of those years, a lifetime, it's 50 years, you were stunned at her transformation into a robot. Somebody that had lost the ability to reason, that had lost the ability to talk to you as a friend, to reason with you, to discuss all of those normal things that you would have always discussed with her, from what she was having for tea that evening, right the way through to what she was doing when she was looking forward to a holiday. It could be anything. And all of a sudden, the friend you knew had gone. What was left, in your words, was a robot. Do you know what? When you said those words, it put a shiver through me. It made me realise that, wow, to suddenly hear it again. I never get tired of hearing these things, but it still shocks me. In your case, a friend for 50 years had turned into a robot, someone that you didn't recognise. A robot is someone that has no feelings, no emotions, that is running on a circuitry which is just one way. Cold, heartless. If you don't come with me, I'm going to cut you off. This type of thing. I can see what you're getting at. Totally see it. Totally relate to it. Understand. And this is something that all of us as XJWs will very quickly relate to. With something from the words that you're using as somebody that isn't a JW, but somebody that was very closely related to someone through friendship that was.
I mean, I could see in her emails it got progressively worse, where it came to the point where I felt like I was reading a Watchtower article. And so I guess it was around maybe June of last year, I asked her, well, are you planning on getting baptized and when? So she said, probably August, meaning last year. And so I thought to myself, okay, I've got, a few months to, perhaps, talk some reason into her. But of course, reason doesn't make too much difference at this point. So during, I guess it was last August or so, we were having this major discussion about the Watchtower's dangerous meddling into medical affairs and their stance on blood issues and their vacillating doctrines.
Okay, you used the word major discussion. I'm taking from that, brother, you're talking about the fact that, this is your friend. You're laying it on the line, really. You're saying, well, for goodness sake, surely you can see these doctrines that are wrong. Surely you can see the blood issue for what it is. Have I got this right? I'm presuming that I have. These are all the classic signs of someone that has become blind to reason. Words that you used as well about reasoning. All reasoning had gone out the window. And let's just watch on a bit further.
Around that. And so I didn't hear from her for about 3 weeks. And she had informed me that she had been baptized last August. So I didn't hear from her for about 3 weeks. And suddenly this one day I get a note in the mail.
Okay, so she's now baptized. You can guarantee that through her questions she would have been asked, have you cut off all worldly ties with everybody? And she would have said yes, because she wouldn't have got baptized otherwise. So there was still some unfinished business there for her. The unfinished business was you. She needed to write that letter. Why? Because she was now baptized. She had committed herself to the organization, to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, the corporation itself. She was now legalistically baptized into their contract with her. In order to do that, she knew that she had to write that letter. For many others, it's very common that they would have written those letters before baptism. So for whatever reason, she's obviously waited to do it afterwards, but she's still done it. And I'm guessing from that point onwards that her reasoning ability to be able to sacrifice you would have been easy. Would have been very easy after this, because she's now freshly baptized. Well done, well done. All of that love bombing would have reached its crescendo. There it is, the final act. All of the encouragement to get her there was suddenly finished. And she's talking to her Bible study conductors, and they say, you still need to write that letter. You need to get that done and finish this, because he's a threat to you. He's asking you questions. You've tried to bring him into the truth, but it hasn't worked. So therefore, you need to cut your ties with him, because he's in the world. Whereas you're no longer in the world. You're now a part of us. Cleansed in white robes. All of this type of language would have been generally fed into this lady over a long period of time. I suspect that from what you've said here in this posting, that you would have had many a discussion with her that would have really tested her, because you don't look the sort of guy that would hold back from just throwing things at her, especially a friend that you've known for 50 years, your whole life. So, but you're dealing with something that had nothing to do with her at the end of the day. It had everything to do with a group of people that were steadily removing her from society. They were stealing her authentic identity. They were taking that away from her. And what they've done with that, it's still in her. That identity is still in there. Please don't ever give up on this lady. Never give up on her. It's still in there, but it's buried. It's buried under a mountain of legalisms, of meetings, of preparations for meetings, of things that she now needs to work on in order to receive her salvation. She's really got herself under a blanket of all sorts of stuff. But as I said in my comment to you, brother, that I personally believe that the love bombing will slowly dissipate now. It will start to disappear. And she will be expected to stand on her own 2 feet. Of which she will do, because she has all of those meetings to attend, the ministry to do, the preparation to do, the looking out for Bible studies of her own to bring in, the pressure will be there on her. And there will be occasions where something will happen. Maybe it'll be a moment of clarity, maybe it'll be an experience that she goes through with the brothers in her congregation, and many sisters do. They experience some rough treatment, but somewhere along the line she's going to meet up with something which really starts to make her realize, my goodness, I wasn't expecting this. And she will be dealing with all of this stuff in here, but still thinking, I've now committed myself to this organization. I've now put myself in this position. I've now given up all of those worldly things, so-called worldly things, including you, brother, in order to be with this organization. I've got nowhere else to go now. So my comment back to you on your posting when I wrote to you about send her, maybe more than once, send her a number, not too many, because it'll look like you're just bombarding her. A couple of emails, a few months from now, after her baptism. I'm here for you. If ever you want to talk to me, no pressure, I'm still your friend, and I will always be your friend. Always be your friend. I've known you 50 years, 24/7. Anytime you want to ring me, you just ring me, and I will be there for you. That's all you have to say. Because that means a lot. Because it's done with love. It's done with sincerity. It's done with honesty. And you know what? I know you will back that up all the way. Because one day she's going to need that. She's going to miss her friend. She's really going to miss you. At some point in her life, when all of this settles down, and all the euphoria of this was my baptism date, and she's settled down to weekly grind of meetings, and the ministry, and the doctrines, and the changes to doctrine, deep inside here she's going to remember the things you told her. And she's going to know that you're opposed to it, but she's also going to know you're her friend. And she needs to know that. She needs to know it back, so you're ready for her to step into that breach and say, don't worry about it. I hold nothing against you. This was not you. Your authentic identity was stolen from you. I understand that. And we are stronger friends now than we ever were before. I hope and pray you can reach that point with her. Praying is something that maybe you don't do yourself, brother. But for me personally, that's what I do. But understanding where you and I are very similar is that we understand the cult. We understand the things we're dealing with here. I tell you.
It was from her, and my first thought was, oh boy, here we go. This is the letter. So I opened it up, and the first line was, this will be my last letter. Oh man, look at this. It happened. Everything that I read about and heard about on the internet, I'm experiencing it. And so at first I laughed. That was my response. And then I thought about it for a bit, and I started getting pissed. And I got pissed. And I wrote her an email, I guess it was the next day. And I asked her, I said, look, how does this make you feel? Like, we've known each other our whole lives. I mean, how does your conscience make you feel about this whole thing? I mean, like, how do you deal with it? And, of course, she didn't respond, and I sent her another email. I said, well, can't we just be friends and not talk about religious issues and just continue being good friends like we always have? Of course, never got a response.
No. So there you go. You've sent her this, you're putting your heart out on the table for her, no response. That must confuse you and make it highly perplexing for you, very angry. As you said, I'm pissed now. You know, you're really, really cheesed off with this. Who are these people to steal my friend away? Who the hell are they? And then you send her another one, trying to be conciliatory in another angle, and then there's still no response. Nothing coming back.
So this whole experience really pissed me off. And of course I knew about Jehovah's Witness doctrine, etc. I had done some study on their history prior to our discussing it. So it wasn't a surprise to me, but I experienced firsthand, you know, this whole shunning, you know, bit, and I just can't imagine what families go through, you know, and having seemingly loving, caring people all of a sudden just chop you out of their lives like nothing.
Chop you out of their lives like nothing. Yeah, you've experienced it now. You can see it for yourself. And that is going on in every country right around the world. This is why we say it's damaging. This is why we say it's destructive. This is why we say it's a toxic social grouping.
And so it was with me, with my friends. All these years of knowing each other, and then to suddenly have a caring, seemingly loving person just like snip, snip, out of your life. Never talk to you again. And so now I have a beef with the Watchtower.
Oh,
so
yes.
That's why I'm responding to this video, this tag, and I just want to say a quick thank you to all you courageous, wonderful ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who are really, you know, fighting the fight, and, you know, my hat's off to you for being brave and speaking about these issues much more eloquently than I could. So anyway, I might do a video in the future which will talk about my recent foray into Bible studies that this incident with my friend inspired. I actually had a couple of Bible studies with the witnesses. I went to the Kingdom Hall, the whole bit, so I felt like I needed to experience it for myself. Man, did I. So I might do a video about that in the future if people would like to see it. So anyway, I will sign off, and ciao friends. See ya.
Thank you for that. I hope you do those videos, or video. I hope you share your experiences. You know, man, did I. You remember, keep those thoughts, write them all down, share them with us, because we're all very interested to hear what you've got to say. Of course we are. And I just want to say thank you for sharing, and I hope you don't mind me tagging on to your words with just my own interpretation. And it is only just an interpretation. If I'm inaccurate in any way, please, brother, let me know that exactly where I've gone wrong, and I'd quite rightly even pull the video if you want me to, if not. But I just want to share it. That's how I'm seeing it. Just let me know if it's wrong. And to everybody else, all you JWs out there, all you X's, this is another classic example of secrecy, someone being drawn away into a cult, group mind think taking over, and then the toxic side of it really starting to take hold, and then the self-sacrifice that takes place, because the true identity of this individual, whatever her name is, has been stolen. It's been taken away from her. It's in her still. They can't take it. It's deep within her, but they are controlling the person from also from the outside, but also from the inside. And thank you for listening.